Hi Sibs! Last week Mary and I got to cross something off our bucket list. We took the kids across country from Knoxville over to San Jose in a van. And it was a lot of fun. We didn't have time to stop for a whole lot along the way, but we really enjoyed the views, or at least we did, and we forced the kids to look at them on occasion. I took a lot of video during the trip, and I'm planning to put together a montage like I did for our trip last year. But there's still some work to be done on that, and I thought that I would this time share some observations that I made. A couple things occurred to me as we were driving across the wide open spaces, and one is that there's an awful lot of wide open spaces. Having lived the last several years in the San Jose, Silicon Valley area where people are practically living on top of each other, at least compared to what I'm used to as a kid, it's hard to believe that there's so much like wide open space with no houses or office buildings or anything, but there's a lot of it. We crossed over to Utah and we drove like probably 2 hours before we saw anything that looked like a house. And Gwendolyn was saying, does anyone actually live in Utah? She finally decided that there's like 11 people that live in Utah. We passed a house or two. Actually, we came to Salt Lake City, but she still refused to believe that anyone really lives in Utah. The other thing that occurred to me is when we did come to the cities, how much alike everything is. I mean, the surroundings can be vastly different. Can be desert, can be salt flats, can be huge mountains all around, or empty plains, but in the cities you still have your McDonald's and your Walmart and your we were amazed at how many Cracker Barrels there were, because there are none in California, and all the way up through Utah we were still coming across Cracker Barrels, so we were pretty pleased with that. It's also amazing just how much weird stuff there is out there. We stopped in Colorado Springs. We went to the Garden of the Gods, which has these bizarre shaped, like big red rocks sticking up out of the ground all over the place. And in Kansas, we came across a place called Rock City, which we had to stop at, being from East Tennessee, where we thought we had Rock City. Which is all these concretions, as they call them, of rock. Lots of things that look like giant balls of rock that formed underground and then eventually were exposed. And that's just stuff that was easy to come by. Oh, and then in the middle of the salt flats in Utah, there's this bizarre looking tree with like balls attached to it that some artist dreamed up. I had to look it up when I got home. I'll put a link in the description. And it was just standing there in the middle of nothing, this crazy sculpture. It was an amazing trip. We saw lots of amazing things and enjoyed the incredible variety of environments that were all along our route, and also enjoyed the fact that we knew that every night we could probably find a comfort inn with comfortable beds and a nice breakfast in the morning. Until next week, stay shiny.